He felt like this is a good time to let my wife know that I cheated on her with her best friend.
Hi, I'm Melinda. I'm a life coach.
Hi, I am Malaina. I'm a stay-at-home mom.
We are sisters. As sisters, we want to explore and share ways heaven helps us as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Many years ago, I watched my sister mentally and spiritually deteriorate before my eyes. I knew she was having marital problems, but she always kept things vague and on the down low. In this episode, you will hear a part of a conversation between me and Malaina years after her divorce. I was with her every step of the way and probably knew more than most because I was helping her through this time in her life. This is where she inspired me to become a life coach. So it may come as a surprise to some about the lack of details I had, but during the conversation, questions about the details naturally came out. You will see some raw reactions from me that may depict judgment and irritation of the situation. This is, however, not how I presently feel. After processing it, I recognize that mistakes were made by all parties. We all are imperfect, including me in my initial reaction. But the focus of the redeeming power of Christ and his atonement is what saves us all. We hope that all involved will find peace and forgiveness as we have in Christ. I hope all can see the Lord's hand in their lives as we walk in his footsteps. Malaina has overcome some terrible trials and shares how her steps led to faith in Christ and a belief in herself. Sometimes one needs to speak of the hardship that was present so that we can fully understand the impact and growth. We share this so you can reflect on your life and see that the manure that accumulates around you can be seen as a beautiful garden that emerges. We in no way wish ill will towards any involved. We don't share this to cast a shadow on her, on her ex-husband, on the church, or the members of or leaders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We recognize that we are all trying our best, but sometimes make mistakes, and we hope that we can learn from them. We all have access to the redeeming power of Jesus Christ to save us all. So enjoy this episode of All I Can Do to Survive.
I was the most stressed. Right after I found out I was pregnant, I guess he felt like this is a good time to let my wife know that I cheated on her with her best friend. 'Cause where's she gonna go? And it was true. I felt stuck. I felt completely stuck.
Of all of these years, I've never asked you, how did that happen? How did you find out? I don't think I've ever asked you that.
Okay, so how it happened was I think his guilt. This was 2 years before I got pregnant. Okay, mind you.
Okay. Okay.
I think his guilt of what he did was weighing on him extremely.
Okay. So he cheated on you and he didn't tell you until 2 years late, 2 years after the fact?
He didn't tell me the real story until after I found out. He basically told me essentially what he did, but he gave me like the best case scenario.
Oh, he sugarcoated it.
My
It
gosh.
wasn't that
Yes.
bad. It just was this moment. It
Uh-huh.
just whatever.
Yeah, so the story that
Mm.
he told me was that he was working and there were a couple nights where he stayed over in the job site because of the distance. He would just stay there and work so he didn't have to have that commute, right?
Yeah.
And he also started drinking and
Mm.
smoking marijuana around that time, I think because of the guilt. But he told me that one night, him and his coworkers, they were at the job site drinking, and one of them brought their friend. Her name was Melissa. Okay. And he got kind of drunk and they ended up making out. And then they went out to his car or her car or something and started, right? Best case scenario. He's drunk. Somebody he didn't know, somebody he didn't care about or love. He was
Mm.
out of his mind, but as soon as it
Mm.
happened, he
Came to.
stopped it. Yeah. That was the first story. And oh man, it was so hard.
I,
I had to grieve twice, because when he finally did, It was like a week
Yeah.
after I found out I was pregnant. That is when
Mm.
he told me the real
So
truth.
why did he tell you? Like what made him it just was he just was like rolled over one day and he was like, "Oh, by the way."
No, he started going through a manic phase. I think probably finding out that I'm pregnant just, I don't know, triggered some, or maybe something at work just triggered the stress. And so he stopped sleeping. I was training because we had talked about me opening up my own daycare.
Mm, mhm.
So I could work home and bring in some income. And so I
Mhm.
was I was out taking these classes to open up a daycare type of thing.
Mm,
And
mhm.
I came home from lunch and he was just like freaking out. And that's when he sat me down and he told me that
Hmm.
it it was my best friend. She was my visiting teacher at the time.
Mm.
We became very close, and I noticed like they would communicate and they would talk and text also, which was kind of like that's a little weird, but whatever. I trusted her. I trusted him, and then
Mm.
come to find out that no, it wasn't. He was drunk. He knew exactly what he was doing. It happened, according to him, it happened like 4 times that they would
Mm.
meet up at a hotel and they would not only just start, but they would finish. Man, it was so hard because here I am sick as a dog pregnant. I thought that I had found a good spot in my heart. I forgave him,
Mhm.
and then now it's like I'm pregnant and I wanted out so badly. So
Mm.
badly. But I just felt like, who's going to take me and my kids in? And me being pregnant, how
Mhm.
long am I going to be able to work? Who would hire me knowing me that I'm pregnant?
Yeah.
Who I would need someone to care for my children and eventually a little infant.
Yeah.
Who would do that? And so I felt 150% stuck.
Yeah.
I wanted out so badly. And I remember mom coming over and I'm sobbing,
Mhm.
just telling her all this stuff. And like, I felt alone. I felt like I have to
Mm.
stay. Like, what else am I going to do? What else am I going to do?
That's what's so hard about, like, I guess being a woman and why so many people stay because they feel like they have no other option, you know?
Yeah. I didn't feel like here I'm a couple months, or, not a couple months. It was like a week after. So I don't know, 6 weeks
Mhm.
pregnant, something like that. And what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Where would I go with my little children
Yeah.
and me pregnant? Yeah. It was, oh gosh, I didn't want to stay. I did not want to stay. It was so
I
hard.
wonder if if all of us knew about that at the time, if there was something that we could have done, you know? I mean, it
Hmm.
doesn't do any good to go back and hash all of that crap out, but
Right. But we did not announce it.
oh well, yeah, because you don't want to announce that
Yeah.
kind of crap.
No, well, and also at the time, our brother was in the high council in our stake. And so we even dealt with it privately.
What do you mean privately?
Well, just with the bishopric, because something like that, you do it with the bishopric, right? And then
Right,
there's kind of like this, you go to like the high council, like you go to
right,
the stake. We didn't
right.
do that because my brother was in there.
Whose idea was that?
He didn't want that embarrassment. He didn't want my
I'm
family
sorry.
knowing
You don't
what an
you don't
awful, horrible, cheating husband he was.
you don't have that choice.
He did. They gave
No,
him
no,
that
no, no.
choice.
Bishop did? The bishop did?
Yeah, we talked. Well, we didn't. I didn't go. He didn't want me to go.
Wait. Just pause a minute. He went into the bishop and you weren't included in all this? And because he was embarrassed, he didn't want to face his brother-in-law.
Hmm.
Who cares? Like what? Why did the bishop do that?
They approved it. The bishop went to the stake president, told him the situation.
Oh, so the stake president approved that.
Yeah, allowed it, approved it. Yeah. But the funny thing is when he confessed it, he told them the fake story that he told me because one of the bishopric counselors was the husband of the woman that he cheated with.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why are you not involved in this?
I don't know.
Did you not? I'm like, my brain is my.
He did not want me to go. He did not want me to be there.
Like, just as you were a member of his congregation,
Mhm.
you need help just as much, if not more.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh wow. So, did you ever have a meeting with the bishop? I mean, you didn't know that he told the fake story.
I found out later. I found out later. But
Like
it
a
was
lot later? It was like too late
yeah,
later?
we had a new bishopric.
I'm
But
gonna be
you also
curious.
but
What
you
what
also have to
happened?
remember that I was in this marriage for a very long time and I was very much browbeaten and
Yeah,
brainwashed and
yeah.
manipulated and controlled. And I've never experienced this. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know that I had a right to be there. I asked to be there. I wanted to be there, but he was like, no, this is something I need to face on my own and blah, blah, blah. I remember
Mm-hmm.
talking to the bishop a few times, like we met. Um, but my best friend, she really helped me through this. I know. I know. But so when I didn't know, it was before I didn't know she was the
Was yeah.
Melissa.
Obviously, because you wouldn't let her help you through this when she's the
No,
mistress or the.
no, but she really helped me and was like, this really is the best case scenario. You can forgive and blah, 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 blah. Um, and so yeah, she was one of my rocks in the situation. She really helped me through the first time. The second time,
Well, the second time you knew that it was her at that point.
yeah, and then once we found out, we never went back to that ward.
I'm just trying to put all the pieces together. So then the bishop says you can go to a different ward.
I don't know if he said that. We just stopped going because it was like, I'm not going to that ward. I don't want to see her. I
So the
don't.
bishop never or nobody was just like, "Hey, where'd you go?"
Not that I remember. They might have.
I
I mean, this
I can't
this was a
wait
long time ago.
until
This
no,
was
I
like
know it
12,
was.
13 years ago.
I know. And you're like,
But
"I want to
yeah,
forget this." And I don't know how you I don't know how you came out of this. I don't know. I just don't. I don't know how you came out of
it
this.
strengthened me. And I've been able to see how it has strengthened me and how it has prepared me.
Well, I mean, I can see how like you would have to you would either totally fall away or you would have
Hmm.
to come to your own um relationship and reliance on Jesus Christ
And that's what I had to
maybe
do.
yeah.
That is
I
exactly
wonder
what
if that's yeah, people who leave the church they don't choose to
rely on the Lord and the atonement.
or they don't feel like it's available to them because they've relied so heavily on leaders, what they say, what they do as an example, and when that falls apart, their testimony falls apart.
Yeah, didn't I didn't have a whole lot of people I could turn to, but I had prayer.
Mhm.
It strengthened my faith in my Savior
Mhm. Mhm.
because that was the only thing that I think was holding me together. I felt like I was just clinging to the skirts of my Savior.
Yeah.
And it was like that was all I could do to survive in my life.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's because I've seen that, I've had people tell me that their relationship with Jesus Christ is so much better now that they are away from the church. And I wonder if that's because they're no longer leaning on the leadership, the members, what they say, what they, and trying
Hmm.
to trying to be like them. And that's the thing. Like I think, and maybe my own experience, I learned early on that just because somebody's in a bishop, or just because somebody's in a stake president, or just because
Hmm.
somebody's in whatever leadership does not make them perfect. And it's not the person I need to be following.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
need to follow Jesus Christ. And I think that as members of the church, we can get caught up in everyone else around us, and we're trying to be a good example, or we want to follow a good example, and the good example in front of us we feel like, or we think, is our leadership. And when that falls apart, when leadership falls apart, their whole reason to go to church falls apart, because it's based off of leadership and examples versus Jesus Christ. I don't know. I'm this total theory, just totally conjecturing, looking at pulling all of the information and the pieces and all the people that have talked to me, pulling all of that together. That seems to be like the common thread.
Yeah, well, and I've also noticed, because the way that the church was and how President Nelson has changed, what would you call it, protocols, I guess, right? Like he's made changes, and I have seen how it's more of a focus on a relationship with Christ. It's no
Hmm.
more like these are the rules, these are the standards. If you don't
Yeah.
follow
Yeah.
these, then you're a horrible, evil person, right?
Yeah.
Not that
Yeah.
a lot of people, but there are members.
No, but no. That is the belief, though. Yeah, that is the
Yes.
belief that you do this. These are the rules that you follow to be a good member, to be a good disciple, these are the rules that you follow.
Hmm.
And I and I'm not blaming the leadership, or the
No.
I'm not
Yeah.
blaming anybody in the past. I feel like that was that that was the mental state, the mental capacity that we were in as members of the church, and now it's
Yes.
time to grow out of that capacity and live a little bit of a higher
Yes.
law. And the higher law
Exactly.
is like, have a relationship with Jesus Christ.
I have noticed that the old way, is that right?
Yeah.
The old way of how we lived, it accidentally created some Pharisees in the church.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to hold on to Christ. You have to put the focus on Christ and not all of these fence laws, not
Yeah.
all of these,
Yeah.
614 laws of Moses, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that does not create disciples. That creates, I don't know.
Lemmings. Creates lemmings. We're just going to follow. Whoever's in front of us, we're just going to follow that.
Right, right. And it
Yeah.
also creates self-righteous people.
Yeah.
It creates judgmental people. Because if you drink caffeine, if you I don't know, there's so many of these fence laws
Yeah.
that just are, if you get stuck on that, you were not focusing on the way, the truth, and the life. And that
Yeah.
is Jesus Christ. And through him you can bear all things. You can find rest in his light.
Yeah. Because it seems like when Jesus Christ came, the first time, and he was like, okay, it's time for a higher law. We're not gonna worry about all of. I feel like we're living through another episode of that.
For sure.
another
I agree.
another repeat of that. Like let's not focus on all of these laws and all of these to-do lists. Let's focus on Jesus Christ. And some people are having a hard time not following those laws or not judging people on those laws. Some people, I don't even know if they're actually hearing that President Nelson is saying, like, it's time to focus on Jesus Christ. I
I
don't
don't
know
think
if
they are
I don't
either.
even know if they're getting that message.
I know some people who are so black and white thinking, and like they are just they got their blinders on, and
Yeah.
they are so stuck on those laws that even to this day, because of the changes,
Mm-hmm.
they struggle with the gospel. Like, is the church going apostate?
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, we are centering and more focusing more on Christ. That is what it should have been. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that there was a reason and a purpose, and those standards and stuff, like that was very needed when they came out. But
Mm-hmm.
we started missing the mark, just
Yeah.
like the Israelites, just like
Yeah.
the Jews, the Pharisees. We
Yeah.
started missing the mark, and the mark is Christ. They started focusing
Yeah.
more on these laws, and that's very prevalent today. And so if you do not have yourself anchored to Christ himself, but
Mm-hmm.
you're anchored to all these perceived standards of the church,
Yeah.
you fall victim to being led away very enticingly. I mean, even in scripture, it says that even the elect will be led away. And it is because of those very soft and very subtle ways that it reminds me of Elder Uchtdorf's talk,
Mm-hmm.
just a few degrees, when he
Yeah.
talks about when you're flying, just like 1 or 2 degrees, if you keep going that way, it's like you've now,
Yeah.
you're so off
Escaping.
the mark. Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's where people started heading because there was just a couple degrees off. And so now it's just like, now they're struggling in the gospel and they're just like, is the church going apostate? Because we're not following all these, the young men, the deacons, right? Now they can pass a sacrament with long hair or
Mm-hmm.
ponytail or so it's
Mm-hmm.
like, is the church going apostate? It's sad. It's
Yeah, but
sad to me.
no, 100%. I think another reaction though is because we were so focused on these rules and the do's and the don'ts in the gospel. I feel like when they realize that that has failed them or that the leadership has failed,
Mhm.
they totally abandon all of those rules,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is probably why they feel closer to Jesus Christ because they stop focusing all of these do's and don'ts.
Hmm.
And if they genuinely want a relationship with Jesus Christ, and the church represents these all these do's and don'ts in their life, then once those are gone, now they can focus on like the real deal. And that's why they feel closer to Jesus Christ. And 100% they probably are. But I think that their relationship with the church, the leadership, and the do's and don'ts is what has failed them. And and that's why they're like, I don't want to do these do's and don'ts. I don't want to deal with this crappy leadership. So I'm gonna just have my own relationship with Jesus Christ, which is great and fine. But I think that's I'm able to separate that. I think that's why I'm still in church because I have seen the dysfunction in leadership. I've seen the dysfunction in focus of the do's and don'ts. I've seen the dysfunction of all of that and was able to separate that from that's not the gospel. The gospel of Jesus Christ is focusing on Jesus Christ, not on
Right.
these other things.
Yeah.
And Yeah, it's interesting.
And it also reminds me of Jeffrey R. Holland, that talk where he says all God has to work with are imperfect people. And that's
Yeah,
got to be incredibly frustrating
yeah.
because it's so true. We're all these good men and women who are just
Hmm.
trying and
Yeah,
striving and have our own flaws and our own mistakes and our own,
yeah,
we have so much to learn, you know,
yeah,
who are in need of a physician, but that's all he has to work with. And we're all on different paths back to Christ, and we all look different. We're all on different spots of the path. And yeah,
yeah,
so if you put your faith and trust in the arm of flesh and not have compassion, not understand that we're just doing the best we can.
yeah. But the physician is Jesus Christ. But I think a
Yes.
lot of people think that the physician is church or stake president or bishop or, that's not the physician. The physician that we need to be turning to is Jesus Christ. And they're confusing the church with the physician. And so they're like, that's not the physician I want to go to. But I can still realize that the church is still was established by Jesus Christ and it is his church, but the church and the people are not the physician. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ is, and that's where you have to
Yeah.
turn to.
And that's what I had to do
Yeah. Yeah.
just to survive in my life, was because I didn't, such a horrible time, just the manipulation and the brainwashing and I was such a broken woman.
Well, I think that's great that clearly, and not to say that like heaven helped you and heaven's not there to help the others, but
Hmm.
somewhere along the line you were able to and still continue to be able to separate, the priesthood and the men that are
Hmm.
in the church with the actual true gospel of Jesus Christ. And I think that's the only way I feel like you can survive is you have to separate that and follow the savior. But it's tricky because then you've got all of those old messages in your in the songs and in your teachings of, follow the prophet, and which,
Yeah.
not to say that you're not supposed to, like, I'm not saying don't follow the prophet, but you follow the prophet as far as he's leading you to Jesus Christ. And
Right.
you need to be able to recognize that any leadership, if they're not matching up with what you understand is
Yeah.
the gospel of Jesus Christ, then you just realize they're working on it. That's them. That's, it's
Yeah.
it's not the gospel. It's not. It's
Exactly. Because you can
Yeah.
look in church history. We have definitely made mistakes,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The
Yeah.
leaders, the prophets even.
Yeah.
We've got, because it was led by humans,
Hmm.
they made mistakes. I mean, the church was such a baby back then, and we were trying to learn how to sit up. What does it look like to sit up? And what does it look like to crawl and to walk? Like what,
Yeah.
so if you put your faith in the people of the church, it's going to fail you,
Yeah.
because we are all still trying to learn and understand and struggle through these situations. We run up against walls, and the Lord lets us,
Yeah.
because we need to learn, because we need to grow, we need that experience. And
Yeah.
so if you don't turn to the way to
Hmm.
Christ
Hmm.
and to go to him for answers, go to him for problems and sorrows and heartaches and struggles and guidance, and you don't follow his teachings and test him, then, you can gain a testimony, but you're not converted. And conversion is what keeps you anchored to him, is being converted, not being converted to the church, but actually being converted to Christ.
Yeah.
Because there's like you said, there's this big long to-do list.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people in the church, they get stuck on that. They
Yeah.
get stuck on, well, I got to do my family history and I got to go to the temple and I got to serve this and I got to da 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 da. It's overwhelming and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
daunting, but we're not meant to do all of them all at once.
Yeah.
There is a time and a season, and that's something that they have taught, but there's still a lot of people in the church that are just, they're exhausted because they're trying to do so much all at once, and
Yeah.
that's not what Christ wants us to do.
I liked your analogy of like when you said that we're babies in the church and so we need to learn to sit up and crawl, and I think that that's why the list of the do's and the don'ts are so important, because when you are learning, when you're raising a child, it's important to tell them all the do's and don'ts of life. But then you grow up and you have to like kind of figure out life on your own. And so that's why I'm like, I see the placement and the importance of that time, of the do's and the don'ts and all the rules and follow this and follow that and do this and do that, because that was part of our raising, that was part of our growth, that was part of our understanding. And I guess maybe maybe some people that are stuck on the do's and don'ts just don't have the confidence in themselves to follow Jesus Christ without that. It's kind of like if you're walking along, if you're trying to, it's kind of like my grandson. He so knows how to walk, but he doesn't believe he knows how to walk. And so he's got to make sure he's got all of these things to hold on to. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And those
Yeah,
laws and those rules are a safety net. I've got to hold on to these because I don't actually really believe that I can walk on my own. And that's and
right.
that's that people who are struggling to let go of those rules and the old way is struggling to have confidence in themselves to walk on their own and to have a relationship with Jesus Christ on their own without those laws and rules.
Yes, yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Yeah, and I think that people who maybe held on to the laws and rules of the gospel, it's like them holding on to, they're holding on to couches, they're holding on to chairs, they're holding on to things, learning to walk, but then they grab a hold of something that is actually not that steady, that is actually not the rock, right? It's not the rock. And so when they've held on to things, they've held on to these rules, but they grab on to something that fails them, and then they think, oh my gosh, the gospel must not be true. I'm going to walk away from all of this, and
Yeah.
I'm going to figure out on my own. And they do, and they walk away and they're able to walk, but they're not realizing the connection that you can have with the church, with the people, and the brokenness of the chairs and the items that you're holding on to. So yeah, that when you said that that represents a kid, we were a kid in the gospel, that really rings true to me. And I think Heavenly Father, or I think President Nelson, as Jesus Christ's mouthpiece, so Jesus Christ saying, it's time to focus on me. And it's that Peter moment, you know. He's bidding you to the water, and if you keep your eye focused on him, then you can make it. But we get distracted with the storms and the faulty leadership and all the problems that we have in the church with the members. Those are our storms that are knocking us
Yes.
over and making us lose focus on Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this has been enlightening for me to see. I mean, I knew some of the stuff. I mean, I'm your sister. I knew some of the stuff that you went through, but I didn't know like all
You
of
don't know all
that.
of it. Yeah. Yep.
No, no. And I did not realize
Hmm.
all of the challenges that you had, that you faced with leadership, with bishops, with
Hmm.
not only your husband, he's supposed to be a priesthood
Yeah.
leader. He's supposed to be, all of that. Like, that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how how you did it. How you
Yeah.
came
It
out of
was,
it.
Well, I mean, you helped me. I had a lot of thoughts and notions about myself, about other people that you have been able to help me to see. Meh, it's not quite right.
The falsehood in
Right.
the rhetoric that you were being
Yes.
fed.
Yes. And I was, oh gosh, yeah, I was such a brainwashed, traumatized, triggered, empty woman.
Those are some good descriptive words.
Yeah, I mean because he pulled the stuffing out of me,
Yeah.
you know, and filled me with such lies about myself. I mean, he really tore me down from the inside out,
Yeah.
and it took a long time of healing, and that
Because I
was
helped, he took the stuffing out and he filled you with
mhm.
crap. And then
Oh yeah.
I helped you take the crap out so that you can be filled with the Lord's
Yes.
stuffing.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Crazy
But
stuff.
for sure, in my life, through all of that, I'm able to look back and see, even through the darkest moments, I am able to see how Christ was walking with me. And at times he was carrying me.
Yeah, I
Eh,
believe that.
yeah. And that's how heaven helped me through that area of my life. And I also see how going through all of that,
Hmm.
experiencing that type of a lifestyle, experiencing that manipulation,
Hmm.
that level of narcissism,
Hmm.
I'm able to see in other people a lot more
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
There's some there's some people out there who is like, I know who you are. I see you. Nobody else does, but I see you. Yeah,
Yeah. But you're definitely stronger for it, I think. And I
absolutely.
mean, as an outside viewer,
Mhm.
you're way stronger for it. And yeah, I do. I think you have a story to tell and an
Mhm.
example to help those, because I know you're not the only one struggling in that, you know?
Yeah, man. Oh gosh, it seems like the narcissists are coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what is it? I think a lot of it is our day and age. You know, TikTok videos, YouTube videos, like all this social media. It's all about me and like I'm so wonderful and everybody and how many likes and how many,
Yeah.
it's like we
I'm sure that
are
doesn't help, but there was narcissists
no.
before that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to say that that's what creates narcissists. But there's a lot of it out there.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
But
And
I
so
will have to say, and I might get some crap for this, but even though nobody likes a narcissist, right? They are difficult people to deal with, 100%. But I also still have compassion for them because,
they're still children of God.
yeah, yeah,
And
they're
he
still
he
children of
is
God.
he is still in relentless pursuit of them just as much as me and you.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Because I've dealt with some narcissism myself. Not as bad as you. I'm not gonna compare that. But I've dealt with it and I've been able to see the other side and how their soul just, what am I trying to say? I just can see that they're trying to figure it out just as much as everyone else is. They just are going about it really, really in the wrong way. And I know that they are struggling and they are suffering through their own,
Yeah.
stuff.
They put on an air of I'm awesome, I'm amazing, I'm
Yeah.
perfect, but
Yeah.
they are probably the most insecure and fragile people out there.
Yeah. 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 And that's why my heart, even though I don't like to deal with a narcissist,
Nobody does.
but I see them as the insecure rather than a person who is just so focused on manipulation. That's their tool that they use, but they use that because of the severe insecurity in themselves. The insecurity, confusion, the loss. They're so lost. They're so lost in how to navigate this world, and they've lost a large ability to learn or understand some of the main social aspects of life. And they're just trying to figure it out. And so we're not bagging on the narcissists. We're not bagging on the cheaters. We're not bagging on. We all know that we're all just.
Right, yeah. We're all walking our own paths in life, trying to survive it, trying to navigate it, trying to figure things out. We all are. We all make our mistakes. We all have to learn and strive, and we all have to come to Christ.
Yeah. So whether you're a narcissist, whether you're a survivor of a narcissist, a cheater, a liar, you've left the church, you hate the church, like all of it, heaven can help all of us and is helping all of us
Yes.
find our way back to Him, back to Christ.
Thank you for sticking with us. For all those who are viewing this, if you like this video, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. We really appreciate it. We love you, and until next time, let heaven help us all. See ya.